Welcome to this week's Forex Forecast. I am FX Telepath, and we will get right into the analysis here. So starting things off, as always, with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 474 long positions, and they also added 2,780 short positions. Doing a top-down approach here on the weekly chart. If you look, we have this weekly demand that is in play right now. If we zoom in, it hasn't quite been removed just yet. And if you look, we pretty much have a weekly downtrend. It's not the most clean downtrend like that. I would have preferred to see a bigger move and then the lower low right here, but it didn't happen that way, and we are still inside of this weekly demand. But this weekly demand has been tested not only once, but twice, almost 3 times, and obviously now we are going in for a deeper test. So it is safe to almost call this removed, or at least say, hey, I think the DXY is headed lower. Now, it's definitely possible this is a potential trap setup like this. Definitely possible. Anything is on the table at this point for the US dollar, and it's definitely going to be difficult to trade in the next coming month, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think, obviously things, in my opinion, are easier to trade when we have, large candles like this, because then you could kind of just ride the wave. But when we have just a lot of choppy weekly candles like this, things can get definitely very difficult. Now we have weekly demand down here at 98.8. I think we could be headed down to there at least in the near future. Now, I'm not really expecting a larger move up to back to 103 up to this potential supply and then a push down. It's possible, but for now I have seen no evidence that we are going to be pulling back at all. So until I see that evidence on the lower time frames, I expect the next weekly candle to look something like this, possibly on the DXY. We'll have to see what happens. It's difficult to predict how the candle is exactly going to look, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see price kind of just bounce around to about 99 on the DXY, and we have to see what happens from there. Now, on the daily chart, you can see the downtrend is very more clear on the daily chart. We have 2 supply zones up at 103 and about 102 on the daily chart as well. So these are certainly areas where we could see moves off of. If we do get that pullback that I said I'm not expecting, I would definitely be watching both of these daily supply zones to see moves off of those zones. So how do we, if you're a day trader, what would you be looking for? Well, just looking at the 1 hour chart here of the DXY, we have 1 hour supply at 100.18 right here. We could see a small move off that zone like that. So I would definitely be cautious around trading in that area if you are looking to get in long on the DXY. But overall, looking weak, I think in the meantime, we could be headed down to, like I said, 99, 98, even possibly 97 on the DXY in the long term. So as long as the DXY goes now, as you guys remember, I pointed out this daily demand on the DXY, and we did react off of it almost, but then we actually pretty much just blew through it. So once that demand was removed, which it was, we have to then switch to bearish at least till price gets down to like $99, $98 on the DXY. On to the forecast for the Euro-US dollar. The past week, the banks added 3,079 long contracts, and they also added 5,754 short contracts. Looking at the weekly chart here, we had a beautiful reaction of this weekly demand. I pointed out this weekly demand all the way back at the start of 2023. And look at that, 2 reactions off the demand. Higher high here. Safe to pretty much go ahead and call this, a weekly uptrend on the euro. And if you look, we have the nearest supply zone not really till up at the 1.15, 1.15 areas. So I see this thing continuing to push up, just like obviously it's the inverse of the dollar, but we're talking about the euro now. So I see this thing continuing to move up. So how could we go about trading this? Well, remember the daily chart, we are into some sort of daily supply, and this supply has almost been, it was basically tested back here. We actually have a supply zone one on top of each other here. So look, and this is a daily chart too. So what does that mean? Well, it means that, from right here to this supply zone, there was no supply in this area. As you can see, I had no zone in this area. It was basically just dead space. And if you look, how easy was it for price to move through that area? Well, now that we are into some supply up here and up here, I think that what we could see on the euro is pullbacks. I'm not saying the euro is going to do this off the zones or that, but what I do think we could see is, minor pullbacks down to here, something like that, or maybe deeper pullbacks down to some daily areas of demand. Who knows? But that's all I'm saying, is to be cautious of the daily demand zones. or sorry, daily supply zones. As far as potential setups go, we have a 1 hour demand zone at 111. 1.11 right down here. We could see moves off of that zone, so that is kind of the pullback that I could see happening here on the euro. And as always, if you look at a 4-hour chart, we have some 4-hour demand here as well. So that's my analysis here on the euro. Trends are looking strong, but don't expect price to just continue to go up at a 90-degree angle. We could definitely see this thing pull back. All right, on to the forecast for gold, XAUUSD. The past week, the banks added 5,465 longs, and they also added 2,808 short contracts. You guys have been following my channel for a while now. I've been waiting very patiently for 1870 down at that weekly demand zone. To me, it looks like we have turned around a bit here. Now, the question is, are we going to continue to pull down, or are we going to continue to go up? Obviously, that's always the question if we're going to go up or down, but as you can see, we're going to go down to lower time frames, and we're going to take a look at what's taking place. So if you look at a daily chart here, you can see we have daily supply that is in control right now at 1950. Here's the zone on my charts. Now, what I think is potentially happening is this pullback is just to kind of refuel shorts to then push down to 1870. That is what I think potentially is playing out here on gold. So we are going to have to see what happens around this daily supply zone. But how do we actually go about and trade that? Well, what we do, we don't just hop on short, because as you can see, we push pretty deep into this supply zone. So what does that mean? Well, we want to look for confirmation on lower time frames. In this instance, this is the daily chart. So when we come into a daily supply zone, we want to look for confirmation on an H1 chart. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail here on what confirmation is, but if you want to know more about confirmation, I have a trading tips playlist in the description down below that you can get started on. And if you want more advanced tips on how to trade confirmation trades to help with your trading in your trading account to prevent you from taking unnecessary losses, check out the Diamond membership. I recently added the video lessons A to Z, and we go over confirmation trading, set and forget trading, a whole lot of different topics, and I will be adding to it, as well as the daily market breakdown videos, my daily chart analysis, Sunday live streams, Sunday Zoom sessions about strategies, and a whole lot more. So check it out. Links are in the description down below to join the Diamond membership. We'd be happy to see you guys join the team. So as long as this daily supply is in control, we could be expecting a price to move down. And in short, to give a quick brief example of the confirmation, we have 4-hour demand here. We basically want to see that removed to prove that, we're going to continue to go down. And look, if you think gold's going to continue to go up and we're not going to pull back all the way down to 1870, that's fine. We're not all going to have the exact same ideas in the market, and that is exactly what makes a market. I get a lot of, not a lot, but I do get the odd comment on here time to time that is rude. We're like, oh, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. And look, I appreciate comments that are constructive or saying, I disagree with your analysis. I think there's a demand zone here or this or that. I love those comments, but I don't really appreciate the ones where they're just basically coming on here to bash me, because at the end of the day, having a difference of opinion is what makes a market. You might want to short down here at demand, but in my opinion, it's best to actually go in long. Now, sometimes we will just blow through that, but from my experience and what I understand, supply and demand is king, and that is why that is what I trade, based on my own experience. So if you do think we are going to go up, like I said, that's fine if you have that opinion, but what I would wait for at least, I don't think getting in long in this range in the 4-hour chart's a great idea. I actually think maybe waiting for a pullback down to 1941 at this demand zone, waiting for that zone to be hit, and then looking for longs is the best decision and the safest decision to preserve your capital. On to the USDJPY forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 12,613 longs, and they also got rid of 11,875 shorts. To keep it simple here on the weekly chart, we are basically back in the middle of supply and demand, but we are pulling back into some sort of weekly buying area. So I think this weekly buying area is right around 136, a little bit before, but I think we could see a move off this weekly demand zone and see a push up, depending on what happens on the DXY. But if you want to short, I would short down to this weekly buying area here at about 136, a little bit before. If you want to get in long, I would at least wait for that weekly buying area to be hit to look for longs, at least on if you're a swing trader. If you're a day trader, it's a little bit different. If you look at a daily chart here, we had a very clean uptrend in the USD yen. Things were just going great. I was looking for longs, breaking even on some, winning some. Definitely the USDN has been very, very good to me. I was going to look for longs in this daily demand. I actually did. I took a break-even trade on this trade. At the price moved 2-to-1 in my favor. I'll actually show you guys the trade after if you guys want. And I took the trade, broke even, all good. Now I am just waiting for this daily demand at 136.68 to be hit so I can look for potential longs. But who knows? Maybe we actually react to the upside at 140. To the daily supply at 141.310 and then push down. So really what you could be doing is trading both the demand and the supply using 1 hour confirmation trades. Remember, like I said, if you don't know what confirmation is, check out the Diamond membership or the trading tips playlist where you want to look for confirmation coming off of any one of these zones. Now with the trends being to the upside here on the daily chart, I think the favorable thing is to get in long rather than short. But like I said, scalping trades or day trades off of these zones are certainly okay, just looking at the daily chart here on the USD Japanese yen. And as far as your other day traders go, if you want to continue to look for day trades and you don't want to wait for all of that setup, which I understand, a lot of people don't have patience, and that's fine. I get it. We have 4 hour supply right here at 139.256. This certainly could be an area where we get a little trade off of it. Doesn't mean when I point out these 4 hour, 1 hour supply zones that you guys can look for day trading shorts or longs in, I'm not saying that the zone's going to go all the way down to here and you're going to get a 30-to-1 trade. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if you're going to day trade a 1 minute or a 5 minute or a 50 minute time frame to the short side, why not wait for supply to be hit before we get in short, right? You don't really want to be shorting down here. You don't really want to be shorting here with all this nonsense supply. You want to wait for real supply with a sharp move away. Yes, it could blow right through, but why not wait for supply and stack the odds in your favor? So really what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we could look for quick little scalps to the downside and day trading time frames. I personally don't day trade, but I like to point out these zones for you guys to look at so you can use them in your trading. All right, on to the GBPUSD, the British pound forecast. The past week, the banks added 15,206 long positions, and they also added 7,408 short positions. Looking at the weekly chart, we had the fresh weekly supply we've been talking about. I've been talking about the pound all the way from down here. I said we got profit margin up to this weekly supply. I've been talking about how the pound is probably going to go up to here pretty much this entire time here. So now that we are at the supply, how do we actually trade it? Well, the first thing I'm realizing is that this supply is almost non-existent. Well, it exists, but as far as we move up, it's a very sharp move up. We have almost pierced through the zone. It doesn't mean we should ignore the supply zone, but what it means is we need to be trading short with a lot of caution. To be very, very clear, for short trades on the 4 hour chart, I would at least need to see something like this and then a pullback to a 4 hour supply zone before we even consider getting in short. Now, on a 1 minute, 5 minute chart, if you think we're going to pull back down to 4 hour demand at 1.30, yes, you could try to capture this move on a 1 minute or 5 minute chart, but in my opinion, you're trading against the overall trend, so it's lower odds in my opinion. But it is possible that you do catch the wave to the downside if that is what you think we're going to get. But if not, we could be looking for longs in really any one of these 4 hour areas of demand to the upside. Quick little 2-to-1, 3-to-1 trade potentially on the pound. If you look at the daily chart here, we have a daily buying area and a daily demand zone down here. These aren't really great areas, and I'm not super confident in them, but if we do pull back to them, could be areas where we look for swing trading longs in. So that's what I'm personally waiting for as a swing trader, waiting for some fresh daily zones to be hit or some fresh 4 hour, 1 hour zones as well. So that is a British pound. We are into some weekly supply, but it is definitely looking very strong. So we don't really want to be trading against the trend, but we need to be cautious with longs, and that's why we need to wait for pullbacks down to demand zones on the GBPUSD. Remember guys, if you want to trade short and catch the move to the downside, that is fine, but you have to be aware of the time frame you're going to do that on, and in my opinion, it must be on day trading time frames because there is nothing but uptrends on basically all 4 charts. This is a reminder, on Sunday we have our custom forecast for the silver members. You can come into here, you can tune in live, you can watch after the fact, and you can ask for any analysis on any market, any stock, forex, pair, futures market, anything you guys want that has a price chart, I will look at for you guys, absolutely no problem, and that is in the silver membership. I know nobody can afford to purchase the full membership with the video lessons and the daily market breakdowns and all that. I understand, but that is also why we have the silver membership. So if you want my daily chart analysis, my custom forecast on Sunday, check it out, links are in the description down below. All right, on to the USDCAD. The past week, the banks got rid of 9,000 longs, and they also got rid of 9,100 shorts. Reminder, we are into some weekly demand zone, so I do expect the USDCAD to actually rally up. So with that being said, how do we trade this? Well, if you look at a daily chart, we had daily demand. Here, I was interested in buying at this daily demand zone. Unfortunately, it took a loss on one of the trades, but it is what it is. Now we have daily supply here. So as far as the daily chart goes, if we get something like this, where we are left with new daily demand, this would be the new daily demand zone down here that we can look for trades into the long side. I know that's a daily chart. That's going to take a long time to play out. So let's look at what's going on in the lower time frames for you potential day traders out there. Well, right away, I'm noticing we have 4-hour supply here, 4-hour demand here. Could really look for trades in any one of these zones to the long side or the short side. There are reasons to go long and to go short. The overall trend in the daily chart is down. So, in theory, we want to be trading in short at the supply zones. But with the overall monthly and weekly demand being in control, that's definitely a potential change of direction on the daily chart. That's why I am personally kind of bullish on the USDCAD, although I do think we could see some continued downside based on what I'm seeing on the DXY. But if you are bullish, we have 4-hour demand at 1.31 that we could see moves off of. And like I said, if you're a bearish, we have 4-hour supply up here at 1.33, 4-hour supply up here at 1.32 that we could see moves to the downside off of. All right, onto the Aussie US dollar forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 6,509 longs, and they also got rid of 6,007 shorts. Daily chart, we removed 2 daily supply zones, very, very significant. What happened? That left us with daily demand at 0.66. Now, with the higher time frames being in control down here, in my opinion, we want to favor longs. Now, I still much prefer this daily zone down here at 0.652. It doesn't mean that if price pulls back to this daily demand at 0.669, it doesn't mean that we won't see a trade off this zone. We could certainly get in long at this zone on a day trading time frame. But as far as the larger move that you guys might be looking for, in my opinion, it would come from that zone down there, not this zone. But it doesn't mean we won't get a reaction off of this zone. So how do we go about trading the Aussie US dollar? We're looking at the 4-hour chart. We do have 2 4-hour demand zones here. These are both decent. If you're a day trader, 1 minute, 5 minute chart, if you're on that chart, I would be waiting for these demand zones to be hit to look for your long scalp trades. And that's pretty much all I would be doing. Yeah, if you think we're going to pull back to these zones, you could trade the retracement to the downside. That's fine, but it's got to be on like a 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, if that. So as far as the Aussie US dollar goes, I am expecting a pullback, but we could definitely get in long at these areas of demand on the 4-hour chart. And if not, we have the daily demand as kind of we have 2 daily demand zones as kind of our overall backstop. USDCHF forecast. The past week, the banks they added 1,286 longs, and they also got rid of 3,217 shorts. I will keep it quick on the higher time frames here. Weekly downtrend, daily downtrend. It is shorts all the way until we get proven that shorts are no longer. And what does that mean? Well, if we get a 4-hour chart that looks like this with a higher high and all that with a clear uptrend, then at that point shorts are 100% off the table until we pull into daily supply. So until then, it's shorts all the way. Now we are into some 4-hour supply. We have 2 4-hour supply zones here and even a supply zone up here. So really we could be looking for shorts in any one of these zones except for really the one at the all the way up here. I pretty much ignore that one. But as far as these two zones go, we could look for shorts really inside of any one of these zones. On the 1-hour chart, we are into some 1-hour supply right now. I pretty much ignored this one. This one is a little bit better up here at about 0.865. We have 1-hour supply right now. We could look for those day trading confirmation trades at the downside on a 5-minute chart. That's fine. Ultimately, I think the better move is going to come from this supply up above. So really, I'm waiting for that zone, but doesn't mean we can't get a potential day trade short off of the supply zone we are in right now. All right, on to crude oil. Last but not least, the banks added 22,299 longs, and they got rid of 9,705 shorts. Looking at the daily chart, very, very significant thing has happened. Daily downward trend line and supply both removed, leaving us with daily demand at $74.09. If we pull back down to that daily demand zone here or here at 71.82, could definitely be 2 zones we see moves off of to the upside. So I am very, very bullish on oil right now. just waiting for those 2 daily demand zones to be hit. Now, as far as trading it goes on day trading timeframes, it doesn't mean oil is going to drop all the way down like this. We could see a move up and then the move down. So if you think that's going to happen, we have supply at 76.68 on the 1 hour chart. We could trade in short at that supply on day trading timeframes to the downside, down to those daily areas of demand at least, or down to $73.49. So that could be your potential move here in oil, something like that if we do get the pullback up to this 1 hour supply. I hope you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If it did, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you are new to the channel. And as always, check out the YouTube and Patreon membership if you want to get my daily chart analysis and much, much more.